everybody go? We're live.
Okay. I saw me still. I didn't know where you. I
Okay.
saw everybody.
Everybody went away for a second there, but now we're live to the world, guys. Welcome to
Hmm.
the Dream Show Live.
You're kind of maybe it's laggy on your end or whatever because you didn't talk when you were talking just then. But
Okay.
welcome. Also, though, if you can hear us or not, that's a real boat behind Isaac.
It is.
Special guest today, Mr. Paul Ardila, PGF superstar, grappling aficionado, all around good guy. It seems like Paul. You kind of
It seems like it. Yeah, it seems
yeah.
like it.
It's gonna be hard for you to make a heel turn somewhere. I think because you just seem like such a solid dude. It's really cool having you last season, getting to know you, getting to see you work so much all week, and you know deal with the pressures of the PGF and stuff. Uh, what's been going on with you, man?
You forgot one of my names. 11 matches, Paul.
11
Remember?
match
11
Paul,
matches.
man, dude. Yes, and honestly, at that moment when that last interview kind of went the way it did, I was like, oh, I didn't mean for this to be that. You know what I mean? I was like, I didn't think about it turning negative on you in that last way or whatever. It's like I just want to hear from Paul or whatever. And then everybody's like, oh, he's skipping, he skipped his last match or whatever. It's like, oh no, what have I done? Sometimes good intentions, etc. But like at that point though, I think it was a little different in your case than people skipping matches overall. And I would have rather not seen Kevin do a match ever in my life again. But for you, someone who had worked hard all week, you had really secured your spot into the playoffs, your seed, pretty much. Your team was essentially finished from the competition in that way, from being able to make the money too. So it was the smart athlete move, to take that last match off and get ready for the next night when it was going to be basically every man for himself, though. So yeah, my bad on that, dude. 11 match Paul. He would have did 12, but he ain't know.
Nah, you're good. Yeah, I mean, first I gotta defend my boy Kevin. I love watching this man compete. I know he may have been known at one point as Stalling Kevin or whatever, but uh, the Kevin I know will get choked out on a match and come back and win. So you know what I mean? I just feel like I needed him to put that rep out there
Mm.
and kind of combat that whole Stalling kind of shit that has been following him. Is the old Kevin, all right? That's purple belt Kevin.
Okay.
All right.
The new evolution of Kevin is here.
That's right. But yeah, man, I didn't even do it. I gotta be honest. I mean, I wasn't really thinking about like holding back or whatever for PGF. Is Kevin and I just kind of talked and he wanted to do a match. I was like, man, fuck it, man.
Mm.
This guy has, your opponent has not won a single match, so surely this can't turn negative. You know what I mean?
Right.
It
Can't
just
be
started
that bad.
shit. And I was like, all right, man, fuck it, man, whatever. I mean, it is what it is, man. But now he broke his leg, and I feel bad for him.
Oh man, that thing was nasty. I watched it one time and I look away from it when I scroll by it now.
Yeah, man, that was crazy as hell. And it's everywhere on my Instagram now. Leg break over and over and over. Yeah.
My man took notes on how to go viral when he got out of here. I had a question for you, Paul, on the stalling that Kevin was so maliciously attacked with in his season. What was your take on the stalling? Because the stalling call itself became the enemy during some of the documentary and some of the behind the scenes. Like, what was your take on it?
Oh man, I mean, look, I'll just say this much. I feel like, first of all, I like stalling calls. Keep the match going. I'm all for it, but consistency and uniformity to me is extremely important. Like, for example, when Ernesto and I competed, like, we just kind of agreed, like, yo, man, we're just going to put it out there. We're going to go hard as fuck and fuck it, right? And I'm pretty sure they were warning us about stalling. And both of us were about to die during that match. At least the refs were kind of talking about it like, all right, guys, no stalling. Like, man, it's been like 3.5 minutes straight of going. We're breathing, man. This isn't stalling. We're just trying to not die right now. You know what I mean? So, yeah, I mean, I don't know. I mean, I think I love stalling, but definitely something where the athletes can prepare for a consistent and uniform approach to the stalling calls.
Where they know the criteria.
Yeah, man. I think I would like that way more, especially, and I'm the person on top is much easier to call stalling on than the person on bottom. And the person on bottom is just kind of laying there. Just they can just, it's very easy for them to pretend that they're not stalling. You know what I'm saying? So also maybe like more detailed like what would be considered stalling on bottom would be nice too. Yeah.
I feel you.
No, I definitely can see what you mean there. There was a lot of back and forth kind of situations where sometimes the guy on top was stalling, and then later it felt like in the exact same scenario they called stalling on the guy on the bottom, but it was almost identically playing out that way. So there is still work to be done. I agree on that, and actually in the off season there's been tons of like discussions, and they've been getting lots of reps on some of the qualifiers and different opens and things like that people are doing, trying to nail it down more, because it wasn't, it was thought out as well as I guess possible beforehand. And then once we got into it, it felt like, whoa, there's a lot more still kind of gray that we didn't know existed, I guess, in that way. And having to nail down the referees on just being like hardcore consistent, like you said. It's like, it doesn't matter, it's like, it is what it is, or it's not, and it has to kind of be one thing or the other, or nobody's going to want to do it if you can't understand the rules of the game. If they're not the same across the board, nobody's going to want to play that game. So I agree with you. That was definitely a big point. That was tough. You kind of benefited from one of the stalling calls though, right? You were able to grab a knee bar, I believe, during an escape. I think from that. Were you the one that got put down, or were you the guy that got put on top in that situation? I couldn't remember the exact context, but I just remembered you submitted somebody, I feel like, on a reset. I don't even know who it is in my mind. I just remember like you caught something, I think, on a reset.
Yeah, it was in the quarterfinals of the playoffs against Elijah. I got put on bottom, and then I just went to roll, and he followed. And a lot of times, like when I noticed that, like when you're following, if the guy like stretches out, his legs are right behind you. So I was like, you know what, man, I'm just gonna roll and see what happens. If I find it, perfect. If not,
nice.
Eventually I get out. But yeah, it was there, and then I got a knee bar from it, so it was pretty sweet.
Yeah, you see it play out a lot. Sometimes guys that I guess have been familiar more with the wrestling position, wrestler's position there and starting, they definitely have an advantage in understanding the escape routes. I feel like that are more applicable. And guys who probably have only done jiu-jitsu really haven't spent a ton of time trying to control a person right there in that kind of quad position where they're off to that, like, tight waist side. So there's a lot that can happen there. And, you assume, oh, you're just getting his back. And it's like, you're close, but you don't have much if the other guy knows how to like follow the loops or whatever it is. So you think your high level wrestling background played into some of those exchanges during the stalling calls?
Yeah, for sure, man. For sure. Like something that I peeped is people who had wrestled before, it was much easier for them to escape. Whereas the people who seem like mostly have done jiu-jitsu, like as the whistle blew, they just wanted to go into like a turtle position, which gave the guy on top an opportunity to attack more. Where the wrestler guy, as soon as the whistle blew, up and out, because we're just used to it. You know what I mean?
That's the move. Yep.
Like over a decade, I've been doing that position. You know what I mean? So it was cool that, first of all, I do like it a lot, because if you're stalling, instead of just getting like, enough penalties where, the match is done, it's like, okay, instead of you getting penalized and being put in, and giving the other guy a much better position, like it's a true penalty. It's not just like a point or something like that. It's kind of like, all right, now the whole match is going to change because you were being inactive. So I love that position. But yeah, wrestlers, I mean, they're going to have an advantage. We've been doing it for however long. Yeah.
It's that repetition in times. Yeah.
It gives, I think that's a bit of a competitive balance too, almost in that way, that it gives the wrestler person maybe an out in the jiu-jitsu experience, and the jiu-jitsu person has to like learn to play it a little bit different of a game in that way. Because like you said, you said it perfectly. The tempo, the jiu-jitsu player is going to be turtled, and they think that's better for them, and probably is for whatever context that they develop that in. But the wrestler is not, get out of here. You even get a point for escaping, right? Like, so you would want to beat that whistle essentially. That and the reset. Everybody was arguing about the resets and everything like that. Like, man, that's really important right there, because if your grip's a little bit deeper, that's going to shut down the sit out or whatever it is that may come. So it gets really like ticky in those moments, and if you understand how tight that is, then you'll see where some of that arguing and people wanting to get a definite clarification on some of that starting spot was coming from, because it is so easy to escape from somebody right there if they don't have their hands locked, if you know how to get your hips moving or whatever it is right there. Don't just accept being on the bottom. Do you think that that's a problem maybe with jiu-jitsu across the board, is that people probably accept being on the bottom just too easily?
I would say overall,
like, yeah, as an overarching, not like you should never be on the bottom, but just like we just accept, I'm just going to play guard now.
Yeah, I mean, but the thing is, like, I think it just comes with the sport, man, because most positions that you would consider like not favorable, you can have so many attacks from that it's kind of tough for me to say like, hey, this is a bad position when we have I forgot his name, something Telly's, whose bread and butter was turtle guard. You know what I'm saying?
Yep. Love it.
Yeah, I can't really say that, because in jiu-jitsu, any position that I would consider bad for myself, someone else can be like, hey, this is actually where I start. You know what I mean? While in wrestling, like if you're on bottom, that shit sucks for everyone. You know what I mean? Like for just overall, universally being on bottom, you're like, I gotta get the fuck out of here. You know what I mean? While in jiu-jitsu, it's just, it's just too different. It's hard for me to say.
No, that's really, yeah, and I agree. It's the rules and the way that the game is kind of set up there. Yeah, I don't know. It's just something I think about a lot too, because we get people that come in, and a guy who's wrestled, throughout his childhood and high school and stuff, versus a good blue belt, maybe even, is like, this guy just walks in, and the average, decent blue belt is going to have their hands full with a guy who's wrestled if they haven't wrestled before. And it's the pace, it's the pressure, it's the not agreeing to stay in certain spots that just feel weird or whatever it is. And the mat awareness, I think, is on such a higher level from that, and getting pinned sucks in jiu-jitsu too, right? It's like being on bottom may not be that bad with your guard or different things like that, but if you're getting pinned, that sucks really bad. And I think understanding how to pin people opens up a huge playbook for submissions if that's what you're kind of looking for. So yeah.
Well, Paul, in wrestling, y'all, there's not submissions, but I mean, you can see guys in positions that like they wanna tap, and that's why they give up the pin or whatever.
For sure.
So, I mean, a wrestler learning how to submit is a dangerous tool.
Yeah, I mean, I for sure agree. I agree and then disagree, and then I'm gonna kind of show you what I feel like will be a more fair comparison. Because here's the thing, right? Of course, like if a wrestler who learns not only mat awareness but like body awareness, how to move, how to hold positions, how to escape, a lot of things. Like if he comes in with like 4 years of grappling or wrestling experience, of course he's gonna fuck up the guy who's only been doing it for 1 year, right? But I think if you put in someone who's been doing wrestling for 4 years, or any amount of years, let's say, for example, someone who's wrestled for 1 year and someone who's been doing jiu-jitsu for 1 year, and then they grapple, I don't think you're going to see the same result as I think we're all kind of used to, the guys who come in from wrestling with a shit ton of years of experience, and then they're just kind of destroying everyone. Yeah, because they've had so many years. But a fair comparison would be 1 year of wrestling, 1 year of jiu-jitsu. I think the jiu-jitsu guy in a grappling match, of course, right? I don't think he gets fucked up, man. I think he actually defends himself pretty well. You know what I mean? Or 2 years jiu-jitsu, 2 years versus wrestling. They're going to have pretty similar mat awareness, body awareness, mobility. I mean, of course, the wrestler will also, ultimately they're going to be much better at holding people down. But the jiu-jitsu guy, hopefully by year 2 versus year 2 of wrestling, should be able to at least combat like the guy pinning him and
Basic
moving.
hands.
Yeah, and of course he's gonna know submissions, while the wrestler is gonna be like, man, I gotta keep my feet away. I gotta do a bunch of like neck, whatever, right? You know what I'm trying to say? I think that was
yeah, dude,
a fair comparison.
preaching.
It's the
Pass
same,
the ball.
but different. Yeah.
No,
Yeah.
I like that, dude. That's very wise, like comparison right there. If you think about it, the comparison that we always do is the guy who's wrestled his whole life versus the blue belt who's been there for a year or so, which is obviously a huge mismatch in that way. So, man, I really do. I think that was a great way to put that. Also, I guess coming into the PGF, the 6-minute time limit, is that something that you had been like preparing for, that you felt like was a big problem for you to kind of adapt to, or did you just kind of think you were going to come out there and be able to kind of get it as you were going through the week?
No, man. I love 6-minute matches, 6-7 minute matches, because I don't have like the cardio or muscular endurance for matches longer than that. And in fact, if you see most of my matches like ADCC or anything like that, if they're capped at like 6 to 8 minutes, I'm good to go. But then when I get to Worlds and it's the 10-15 minute matches, I just can't hold that long, compared to other athletes. So it's pretty hard for me. So, man, to me, 6-minute matches, I get to go all out, and I know, hey, this is going to end soon, and that's kind of it. So I like the 6 minutes, and I mean, I think the good thing about wrestling is also like, because it's a project that's been going on for obviously much longer than jiu-jitsu. You can see, because they've played around a lot with like times, rules, and all this stuff, and ultimately, I think they also have 2-3 minute periods, because it just keeps the action going. And it's not boring, and people who don't know too much about it can still follow along. And I'd be like, fuck, man, we're 20 minutes in. What the hell is going on? You know what I'm saying?
No, for sure. Sure. I think that's definitely a part of it that makes it easier for the average person to keep up with too, is that it's shorter, and it won't be a whole half hour before you get any conclusion, and may not get a conclusion in some ways like that too. So at least with this, you get the draw, it's over, you move on to the next thing, you get a restart with it, and everybody gets to come back over, or you get to come back to the next match and hopefully still be fresh and not have spent 45 minutes trying to submit a guy. Now you got to do another match. That no time limit format, as a grappler, I enjoyed it a lot when I was younger and stuff too, because it was fun. It's a good test to have like no time limit rolls or matches with people and stuff. It's fun, but that's not entertaining. Nobody really wants to watch a bunch of 3-hour matches in a day, especially if you're trying to watch one match at a time. That's brutal. Nobody. So I think the 6-minute match was a tough adjustment for me too, coming from like 10-minute EBIs and things like that.
Yeah.
But once you kind of get into the groove of it, I think like you said, it does allow the opportunity to open up, the gas tank a little bit more that way, because you don't have to wait and wonder, oh, what if I even go to OT? I may have to have like my grip to get, the finish and something in OT or whatever. It's like, no, I gotta go ahead and sell out now, and whatever, they can't catch. They're not gonna gas me that much in 6 minutes to be able to like torture me here or whatever, like they could in some of those longer matches if you blow yourself out.
That's right. Yeah, I think right now PGF rules have it the most figured out to attract like just viewers in general, or at least the 6-minute matches coupled with the stalling calls and the unfavorable position for the person who was stalling, right? I think it's just, at least for me, watching it, it was just so much action. Yeah, I think they have it figured out, and I loved it, man. I love matches where a lot of shit can happen. Like it's just constantly turning, going. People were trying shit. Obviously, some people were getting popped, unfortunately, but it is what it is. But yeah, it was a cool rule set. I like it.
And that some sort of like minus the pops and the injuries that people take. Hopefully, Isaac has referenced a lot that it's more like an open mat in a way. When you go and you just like kind of like throw down with the homies or whatever, like similar like you're in Ernesto's match. It's like you could probably see that on any given day that you guys are getting after it in training or whatever, or in places. And so that's how we do it when we're just doing it. It's like there's 6 minutes on the clock or whatever, 5, 6, 8, whatever it is, kind of in the gym, and you're just kind of getting after it hard, and then it's over. You know what I mean? And that's the fun part of it all too. Uh, so yeah, it's I don't know. It's my favorite one too, obviously, and that's me being a little biased, obviously being here. But I don't think I would have. I know I wouldn't be doing all the things I've been doing with the PGF if I didn't really enjoy the way that it is. I think it's.
Sorry.
Oh, you're good.
Salute.
It's the most exciting format to me by far. Like, I am a jiu-jitsu head, but now that we get to the long matches where it's going, 15, 20 minutes every match in a row, and it's, I don't know, man. I just don't want to sit and watch that. Just give me like the highlights of the transitions where you were going, what caused what to happen. I just don't want to see great positioning on TV. Like, I get it. That's great jiu-jitsu. That's cool. But it's not entertaining to watch somebody just be out positioned for 20 minutes and then, it's over. Like, there's no completion to that kind of thing.
I'm with it. I agree.
Looks like we got somebody else jumping in here.
Yeah, I think we got a special guest jumping in here along with you.
Somebody's mobbing this thing.
Yellow.
We're here.
What's going on?
Introduce yourself to the people.
My name is Sergio Ardila. Just finishing a workout, making sure I look extra swole for you guys.
Punk. It was a little intimidating. I couldn't see exactly who it was. Just saw like these big man titties coming in the thing. I was like, whoa.
Yeah, let me get a better angle.
Like the good kind. Like, they're just,
It's filled out. It's a pump.
Pictorial.
There we go.
The way the screen is split, it's like team shirts versus team tank tops.
There we go.
Oh, I think we got him though, Paul. I'll take Isaac.
Wait, what? Wait, why do I have to fight you?
Because that's just how it's gonna have to go. Because I don't want to fight.
Okay, the computers decided it.
Easier for me in that way. Man, what's up, Sergio? How you doing?
Good, man. Good. Just running out the gym. How are you guys?
Doing good. Just sitting here catching up on last season and stuff. Talking about the PGF. You were there all week.
I was.
First experience at the PGF. What are some of your thoughts leaving the season? Just kind of, go wherever the thoughts take you.
Man, I thought it was a really cool setup. It was different, and kind of what I was thinking when I was walking here is one of the things that makes it the best is that because you have action day after day, after a while, a lot of the nerves kind of go away from the athletes, and then they really start just putting on their best jiu-jitsu. Whereas sometimes when you have just that one day, even like in a single elimination type of competition, you might not get to see the best that an athlete has to give because they might just have like the nerves. And you have those guys that are in the gym, they're killers. They might not perform well that first match and the whole competition is done. But in this setup, you have 12 matches. So even the guys that have the worst kind of anxiety when it comes to performing, after like your third or fourth match, then that goes away for most people, and then you really get to see what everybody has. And I thought that was cool.
Oh, that's a good take too. Yeah, man, that's good. I think usually you can see day one is kind of like you said, everybody's still kind of stiff. Guys are still trying to maybe figure out the rule set. If you haven't been there, you'll see guys give away points. They'll kind of they'll not try to go as hard as they could to finish because they don't really get the importance maybe of every point at that thing. But by day two, it starts to settle in, and then like you said, by day three, I think everybody's starting to understand their fate, and you'll see everybody that's really down. They'll just start throwing it at each other and seeing what's going to happen. It's been a cool part of the evolution to see the guys who really want to like rise up in those moments when you're kind of out of it or whatever, and then the guys who want to kind of just fade away once they think they're out of the tournament, so to say. Anybody that comes to the PGF thing, like purple belts and all, they can do really great matches, and as they settle in, you like you said, the nerves are gone. They've seen these black belts, these high level guys go 10 matches already at this point. They're like, whatever, what's he gonna do to me that hasn't, like the guy that that didn't win a match or whatever. He's like, man, what's gonna happen to me if I have to go against Paul now? Whatever, just send him on out. It's like, I'll just take it. at this point. That's the difference, I think, in a lot of ways. Those one and done kind of tournaments, you can go home and make up a story about whatever happened, that one time, and the, sweat dropped in your eye or whatever it was. But, in a whole week, the truth has to come out that way.
Yeah, and you see guys like Brad Schneebly that I was just thinking about. Like he didn't have a very good first day, and then after
That's a
like
good example.
the second and third day, he just started getting subs, and you could start getting to see his jujitsu, which he has weird jujitsu, but then you started to see him like hit all sorts of subs and just do way better. That's one example that I remember from last season.
Yeah, and a good shout out to that man, because first day I think he got like three heel hooks on the same leg or something like that, and I feel like most people would be like, man, fuck this tournament, I'm out. But he came back and turned it around, and got a bunch of like good subs. It was good. It was cool to see, even though he wasn't on my team. I still supported it. It was cool. Yeah.
You also see
What
some of
was
these
the
other
hub
guys.
like back there in the back? Like people have seen the Grapplers documentary and they've seen like kind of how that goes. But like as a competitor in the back and like hanging out, like what's it like?
Say that question one more time.
What's it like being in the back as a competitor?
As a competitor.
Oh man, I mean, at least for us, man, I feel like, because we're just pretty chill guys, it was just normal. I like befriending everyone. I like shooting the shit. So it's not like in the back it was, tense or anything like that. I felt like I was just, shooting jokes and I don't know, just kind of shooting the shit. And then, I only kind of flip as soon as I step on the mat. And now I'm like, okay, all right, now, even though we're friends, if I see a heel, my boy, like I'm still gonna rip it. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, no, when we go in the back, it was cool, chilling. I don't think there was any beef, maybe with some exceptions, but very little. So
yeah, that's my favorite part about it. Been documenting it and been back there since like season 2 with Steven's season. Has been that like you'll see guys go out there, and I mean everybody in there is pretty accomplished. Like even the purple belts that are in there, like some of them have moves named after them. Like like these are like accomplished guys in the sport. And they'll come in the back and they'll be like, yo, how did you hit that on me? And they'll be back there teaching each other how they just did what they did to one another. Like that's been one of my favorite parts of documenting it, is like you said, is that like most people think, oh, we're back there like throwing chairs at each other and stuff. It's like, I mean, things get tense because we're trying to kill each other, but like, nah, like guys are learning.
I'm gonna throw the chair, but then I'm also gonna ask you to show me that thing you did.
After my first match with Elijah, I noticed that he was stepping very like strangely on top, like at a weird angle, and I wasn't sure if he was like trying to set me up for something specific. So when we went back there, I was like, hey man, like, do you mind showing me what you were thinking or what you were going for? Because even like during our roll, I was just like, man, I don't know what the fuck this guy's getting ready to do. So it made me be way more reserved because of that. And I was like, I gotta ask him. Look, I know we're like competitors or whatever, but I can't leave here without figuring out what you were thinking. And he was cool. He was like, yeah, man, shit, this is what I was thinking. So yeah, I mean, it's not like that. Again, with some major exceptions of people who just really do not fuck with each other. So
that happens. But I mean, when you have a community of people that make basically a living off of trying to maim each other, I mean, I guess that's going to be occasionally an issue.
Yeah, true that.
I think the biggest thing is everybody, obviously, that goes there is a competitor, and they're really like going hard. Everybody's sore, they're tired, they're pushing, they're away from home. All that stuff does add up, and I think that's where you'll see a lot of the tension come in. Is like there's no real like beef, but you'll see guys get heated, about stuff, because it's more it's
a human reaction.
Yeah, it more than it's like I hate you. It's just like I'm frustrated and need to like blow it off somehow. And well, I'm fighting this guy right here, so I might as well do it now. Situation.
Yeah, I think that's a good point. And also like the group of people that are competing, they're not representative, I feel like, of the normal person. They're especially like this season and maybe other seasons as well, but they're pretty accomplished. So you already know, like, they're kind of go-getters and they want to do things well, and they don't want to really like slack. And So I guess, yeah, I mean, you're definitely gonna see a lot of frustration because things aren't going maybe the way they planned. But it is what it is, man.
It is what it is.
Man.
Oh, definitely.
Well, like everybody in here has been around for a while, and we've been talking this whole time. Like, you know, everybody out there like knows exactly who you are, Paul. Like what got y'all? Like, y'all have been training, I would imagine, since you wrestled. Did Sergio? Did you wrestle as well? You wrestled as well, right?
Yeah.
So like, y'all been training all along. What do y'all see in this like development? Like, looking back on your careers and then like looking at like where the grappling world's going now, like what do y'all see
from Kakuto to now?
Damn, really bringing it
back,
yeah.
man. That's crazy.
Taking it back to Kakuto.
Yeah, these boys don't know about no Kakuto, man.
Yeah, I was there. I got the scroll.
Oh shit, that's right. Yeah. Sir, do you want to go first?
See, from what I remember, I mean, the sport has evolved so much in general. Like, the average skill level has increased a ton, and as well as like the outliers on the top end. So the best guys from 10 years ago are not as good as the best guys now, which you would expect. But also, the average guys from 10 years ago were way worse than the average guys now. So let's you say Kakuto, for example. You would expect to have a few tough matches maybe towards the end of the bracket. If you have 4 or 5 matches, you would expect maybe the first two to be tough or to be easy, and then you start getting to the tough matches. But because the average level has increased, you kind of have to be ready to have, if you have 5 matches, to have 5 tough matches, and then the last two will be extra tough, where like a very small thing can decide who wins or loses the match towards the end. That's kind of the thing that I've noticed the most, like having competed not just in Kakuto, but like let's just say ADCC trials 2014. Like when I think back on that and the different levels of skill that I had back then versus when I do one of the trials now, like I'm not expecting an easy match at all. I could have like a world champion my first match, and then it continued to get harder from there on. Whereas back then, my first match, I'd be like, all right, hopefully I'll probably just get like a purple belt my first match, and he's not gonna even know anything about a heel hook. You don't get that anymore.
Yeah, I'll just add on to that, but I guess I won't concentrate too much on like the difference in athletes, which I think is what my brother was mentioning. But jiu-jitsu back in the Kakuto days, all right, the let's just call it like the fans or viewership of jiu-jitsu was pretty much only guys who were at the tournament doing jiu-jitsu, and that was it. Today, you do a competition, first of all, in like PGF, ADCC, or some shit like that. There's so much media around it that you'll have just everyday normal people who will know about either one, the fact that you're competing, or the competition of itself, or other competitors and want to ask you about it. Because I get people reach out all the time, like, hey man, what do you think about this? What are you doing this? Like, what's this gonna be like? I mean, the popularity of the sport has exploded in a way that I think other grappling sports just don't even compare. Shit, wrestling has been they've been at it for I don't know how many thousands of years or whatever, right? And I feel like easily surpassed wrestling. Judo, fuck, I don't know who does judo. I gotta be honest with you. And whatever other kind of goofy grappling sport exists,
Olympians. That's all.
I mean, I feel like jiu-jitsu could be in the Olympics, but also there's a major federation that I feel like does not want us to be in the Olympics because of the money they receive by hosting all these tournaments. But they have been declining pretty consistently. At least I think. You know what I mean? I don't have anything to show for it, but a lot of people talk a lot of shit about this federation. I know we all know which one I'm talking about.
I think the younger people are not showing up for it, but I think if you're an over 30 kind of grappler, I think you still go to that a lot more.
Hit the old Masters.
Yeah. I think it's that place for sure. And again, no disrespect for anybody, but it is what it is, right? I think the kids are going another way.
I will say for what my brother was saying, like for what the sport is, the aura in jiu-jitsu has increased a lot in the last few years. Whereas like for what it is, like sometimes if you just show a clip of people like just like like in a low speed scramble. Like jiu-jitsu still looks so funny from somebody who doesn't know what it is. So for that to be what we love to do, the aura has increased exponentially in the last few years.
For sure. I think that the overall understanding too is that like you have more like any sport that is mainstream, there's youth programs, there's kids playing it, there's things like going on. And I think in the last like since I've been in the sport, probably, you know, the last like 10 years, like 7, 8 years, like has been, I've seen a lot more kids that are learning. And so like you have adults that are learning through their kids. And so they're like, they may not train, but they're like, oh, my nephew does that. I think I've watched his practice a couple times. I get it. And they like start watching it and things like that. And so it's been interesting to me because I've seen that conversation happen on the internet lately, like of people talking about like which one's going to take hold now that like it's popular, like what rule set is. And it's like, well, really just the rule set that lets us watch people play the game, I feel like is the answer to that.
And a quick little shout out to Ben, Tuvia, and Daniel, 3 kids from our gym who you guys will see for sure in the future. These boys are killers, but I mean, I'm not going to tell them that, you know, face to face, but
everybody else needs to know.
That's right. That's right. You'll be on the
Bro, warning. This is y'all's warning.
These kids are scary, dude.
Oh yeah, that one of them, Daniel, no joke. And I mean, Sergio has been there for this. This man has called me out, and he's like 17. He's called me out to do 50-50 live goes for the heel hook in front of everyone. Does not give a fuck. And if he ever catches my ankle, I'm gonna be out for 6 months because he's gonna rip my shit.
He's gonna break it.
100%. This boy's a killer. Yeah.
You're just trying to put that lead far enough ahead, right? Right now, you're stacking reps on him.
Let him get.
I rip his heel too. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
You gotta stack the card. You gotta stack the card against him. Let the big brother mentality get there a little bit.
No, you're gonna ask for it. You're gonna get it.
I gotta get a lot of heel hooks in now. You know what I mean? So it stays in there. He's like, I'm no way I can win now. Yeah.
That's funny. So out of the two of y'all, who's the older?
I'm older.
Okay. So, when y'all were coming up and y'all were like figuring things out and like chipping away, like was that an early on, like as soon as y'all were in the room together, or I mean before y'all were training?
I mean, I got into jiu-jitsu like maybe 6 months earlier than Paul.
Okay.
So, and he used to live somewhere else. So and then eventually he moved in with me. And then at that point, I already just kind of told him like, hey man, this is how you do this. This is how we pass guard. So he kind of like caught up real quick. Like he didn't have to learn a lot of things just on his own. Cause I just said, hey, you know, like back then again, we're talking like 2009. So I'm just like, hey, don't pass the guard from your knees. That's bullshit. Try to, you know, pass the standing is way easier. You know, pass to the left side is also way easier. People suck at defending that side, things like that. So he just kind of caught up to where I was and then started going together.
Nice.
Yeah, I have nothing to add. That's exactly
how it went. He just dropped a big nugget for everybody that does jiu-jitsu if you've never thought about that. And I'm not even gonna repeat it, but like this motherfucker spitting.
I mean, preach, right? So Paul, what got you to the PGF? I know that you ended up getting an invite and whatnot, but like through Kevin and through like the community, like did you already know about it and kind of like had thought about competing in it, or like what was your view on it when it came about that you were potentially going to be in the season?
First of all, I think Steven knows that I am a big fan of PGF. I've gone to Alabama to the PGF to watch it. And I even have a favorite grappler, even though he didn't win. My boy, what is his name? Fucking Rock Troll or some shit.
The Rock Troll, yeah.
The Rock Troll.
Yeah.
Walking on his tippy toes.
That's right, man. And he's from early. He's one of the earlier PGFs. So no, I mean, I've enjoyed PGF. I like what they're doing. Of course, you know, I'm really good friends with Kevin, and he's talked it up a lot. He's competed in it too. So, of course, the fact that I got an invite, I mean, it was a pretty easy decision for me. I like Brandon. I mean, everyone from PGF, I just really like. And then as I started kind of hearing about who was going to compete in it more and more and more, the more excited I got about it. Because here's the thing, man. If you go to a tournament with like 20 white belts, they can all be dangerous as fuck. But at the end of the day, you're like, man, it's 20 white belts. Damn. You know what I mean? Like, if I just catch a bunch of L's, this really sucks. But when it's like a bunch of really good people, or even we catch, all W's against the 20 white belts, it doesn't really like, it doesn't really change much for you. But when you go,
it's like a lose-lose situation.
Exactly. Right. But here it's kind of like, man, even if I just have like one really tough match out of everybody, picked at random, I'm going to get something from this match. Even if I win, lose, or draw, like I'm going to find something, I'm going to learn something. So, I mean, the more and more the names got assigned to all the competitors, I was like, oh, man, this is about to be really good. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I will say, too, that Kevin, like, we've known him for maybe like 5 years now, and he's like the biggest PGF fan because from when I first met him, like when PGF was maybe season 2, like not that many people knew about it, and we would go in these group chats and talk about like, hey, we got to start preparing for trials or whatever, and then Kevin be like, oh, you mean like PGF trials? And this is before we really knew about it, and we were like, man, what the hell are you talking about, man? And he just kept bringing up PGF all the time, like, oh yeah, this is like the season, or like the draft is happening tomorrow. I'm like, man, what draft, bro? What? And then it took like Kevin over so many years to just be yapping about PGF for us to be like, okay, man, like, how does this work? And like, who's been in it? And he just kept telling us more and more about it. And then until Paul and Ernesto ended up competing. And then now it's big. But I will say Kevin has been yapping about PGF since I met the kid. He's been talking about PGF.
That was I think he did season 3, right?
Yeah, he was my season.
I think so. Which one he did? Yeah. Good old
He was talking about the elbow genie and like elbow genie point because I had to compete against that guy twice. And he was like, oh man, he's good. He's the elbow genie. And I'm like, man, what the hell are you talking about? He's like, yeah, man, he did really well in PGF. And that's kind of how it goes back. Kevin's PGF lore goes way back.
So the nicknames, we try to do that. We tried a couple out on Paul, but he did not go for the first one I heard. I had gotten approval through Kevin that he would be okay. And then
which one?
What I say, Pretty Paul, was that it, or Precious Paul? I can't remember which one.
I think it was Pretty Paul.
I think I went with Pretty Paul first, and they're like, he did not like that. Don't do it. I was like, oh, all right. I just probably won't do another one for a while. I don't know. I have to figure it out.
How do we go from Pretty Paul to 11 matches Paul, man?
That's just how it is, right? Hey, listen, I had him boo Ryan Aiken right there after he had just won basically the championship for not coming to interview me. So like I don't know, I'm on one by the end of the week, just like everybody else.
He doesn't know his own power sometimes.
I just block out everything and I'm just out there acting out for like a week on camera. And so yeah, I apologize, but I don't know what I'm doing.
But yeah, no, the PGF has been an interesting experience of watching it grow and like watching guys come in, and like it doesn't even matter at this point. We've noticed that like with their accolades, like you can get the best guys and then you can get the like up and coming guys and put them in the room together, and sometimes the guy you didn't even know who his name was like makes a name for himself in there. And like that's what's so cool, is that like you end up having people that are able to like Sergio was saying earlier, is that like a guy that you would see go out there and just get mowed through by the number 1 seed, you get to see him again because it's like, poor guy, like, yeah, like I'm sorry, that's just the way that the bracket fell. But it's fun to see that.
And also something really cool about PGF is that sometimes styles just allow one person to do very well against another style. But in PGF, you just get such a mix of things that you get to see that experiment in real life. Like, for example, something they asked me about, like, it was an interview a long time ago at one of the ADCC trials that I won, and they were like, hey, man, what do you think of the talent since you're kind of like mowing through everyone? And I was like, look, man, this is a bracket. You know what I mean? Like, in a bracket, I can't speak against everyone because I've only competed against like 4 people. You know what I mean? And the 4 people that I got just stylistically allowed me to get my subs really quick. You know what I'm trying to say? But in PGF, you can't talk that shit because you're literally going to go against everyone. And even with my style, which is very like sub oriented, I had a bunch of draws too. And I was trying shit, but it just didn't, not all styles mix perfectly for you to, show off every single time. So, I mean, that's also something.
I would say, can we not have somebody coaching one person step in the overtime to be the damn ref? That I had never seen before.
Fair.
And hopefully I don't see it again. But god damn, man, you want to talk about the like impression of impropriety. You do that. Like you have a guy yelling for one guy coaching, like yelling at the top of his lungs, like, all right, overtime, and then that guy's gonna step in. Like, yo, you might as well just have the athlete himself be the referee.
Which in some other organizations and other places is the case. So also piecing together what they have.
That the athlete himself will step in. Hey, I'm going to be the athlete. And
I've seen the athlete step in and be the ref.
They have been the ref? That's crazy.
Yeah.
No, I definitely understand what you're saying with that. It's
for sure.
It's a situation that matters a lot more than it did in the past. Again, because of the growth of everything and how the optics are. Before there were no optics and it didn't matter and people were just doing whatever and it's whatever. But now with so much on the line, that kind of stuff, you just don't even want to have it around to be talked about if you could avoid it, right? Not that anything intentional would or would not be happening either. You just don't want to deal with it. So optically, it's a bad look. So yeah, I agree with that.
Because if we're doing that, then I would want to be my brother's ref in every single match that he has. It's all gonna be kosher, man. It's all gonna be kosher, but I'll just ref, to the best of my abilities.
Could you be impartial?
I mean, it's like sometimes even if I'm trying to be impartial, it's almost impossible to do it. I'll give you an example. Let's say I'm truly trying to do my best at being impartial, and if I don't know any two athletes, I'm gonna go off what looks like stalling, hypothetically, right? But in this case, if I'm my brother's ref, even though I'm being impartial, if I know he's working for something because I know his game, I might not hit him for stalling. That's like a perfect example of me, even though I'm honestly doing my best at being impartial, I might not hit him for stalling because I know what he's working on because I've seen him do it in the training room 100 times. But to have a truly impartial ref, you have to have like biases that people are aware of and that they're not aware of. That's why you want to have a ref that's not associated with any of the two athletes.
And so that's an interesting thought. And I want to kind of push with that a little bit. What I think we saw in the arguments and the confusion of some of the stalling calls and why or why not you got them is exactly what I think you just said, is some of the bias of we are familiar with, and not saying me, but whoever the calls were going for or against, the ref was either familiar or not familiar more or less with what they're working. And so maybe that's why rubber guard was scored earlier in the week as a more offensive position, because the ref that was calling some of that saw it as an offensive position more from their own perspective. That influences the judging of so many events in jiu-jitsu
in combat sports across the board.
Yes, in everything where there's judging at all. That is such a huge thing. And I've had like arguments and think like for years and years about that. That is a big issue. And I don't know how to fix it or if you can, because what you think and what you really believe about the sport, that's why you're like judging or officiating and stuff or whatever too, right? So it's really interesting in that way. What is uniform or what is correct, what is appropriate in or what's better, what is all what are the definitions of those things have been pretty tough to nail down. Like what is stalling if you're on the bottom or top, or in those ways is like it gets really, really granular if you want to like get to the bottom of it all.
I agree that like maybe there's a lot of gray area that still has to be defined, but I'm just going to do a little pushback and say that Sergio's point, I think we can pretty much all agree that
100% on that.
If you're a coach, man, you can't be a ref. It just Or
in the match that you're already coaching. It's not even like in another match. Like
I don't
in
think
the match
I don't
that you're
think that
coaching.
anyone working on the promotion should be coaching.
It's fair.
I agree with that.
Yeah.
Personally, anywhere. And like I've been guilty of doing it too. And sometimes I have to go, oh, I gotta shut up. And I'll turn around and like walk away from the mat because I caught myself coaching the homie, or whatever kind of, and it's just because we're friends. That's my buddy. And like, it's hard to not want to help if you think you have something that would help him or whatever. But that's not my job in that setting. You know what I mean? And it could be inappropriate.
Yep.
In lots of situations. So yeah, that's a thing that's got, in the sport has to be done better.
Is there some sort of competition with you and Kevin on like who's the best announcer or something like that?
No way.
Oh, I thought I saw something like that.
When's Kevin been the announcer?
There's
I could have sworn I saw something with Kevin of who is the best something with Kevin.
Oh, the two of them have a call out match that's
I
supposed to
created
happen.
Kevin. The character is all me. Like you guys develop the skill set. I give you guys all the credit for anything on the mat, but the whole handsome Kevin, all that.
That whole title is Steven's title.
Me, yeah. I made up I called him that first. I told him to do the hair flip thing. We're like, that's all. Like I
used to be average looking Kevin before Steven.
He was just Kevin.
He was just Kevin.
Just purple belt Kevin.
Oh no! You take that back.
Stalling slow jiu-jitsu.
He was Kevin 3. There were 3 Kevins in his season.
Oh yeah, he was the third Kevin.
Oh man,
in the season that had Kevins, and so I was like, man, I got to get my guy going here. He's okay looking. What can we do here? He did the hair flip, and I was like, all right, we can do it. People like it. So, and then we created the handsome weight title. Right, that's a real thing now. He's got it.
Yeah, I was there for that. That.
Yep.
Look, and talking about developing talent, you know who he went against? Travis Thomas's first appearance in the PGF.
That's right.
Okay.
For the handsome weight title. What's up? That's Kevin. There is no competition. Kevin is so below me. Like,
man owes everything he has, man.
Like he should be grateful when he wakes up. His gratitude in the morning, I definitely have to be included.
Well, and since we're kicking him while he's down, Kevin can't do a podcast consistently. According to
love Kevin. I love him, but you got to keep people in their place sometimes. You know what I'm saying?
First of all,
I heard you guys used to call him Simple Kevin before Handsome.
That's crazy.
Never go full.
I support that nickname. Never. I support that nickname.
Never go full Kevin.
Oh man,
crazy! How the fuck you catching so much strays right now, man?
Oh god.
Oh well.
This is the best part of the PGF, by the way, is getting with homies and friends and people and enjoying the community and the vibes and everything. And throwing down, yeah, that's part of it all, but it's definitely just being around cool people, having a good time. That's the biggest and best part.
For sure. I had a good question that popped up in the comments for you, Paul. They said, what were your thoughts once the team first form was drafted? Did you automatically think that they had the season on lock? Like some people remain nameless. Okay, yeah, there were people that definitely thought that y'all's team had it in lock. I heard it multiple times where they're like, oh, this is the best team. Like, how did you feel on night 1 when you saw your team drafted?
Fuck it, man. I'm just gonna say the truth. We lost Sergio, but I bet you even Sergio will back this up without having to talk to him. But I feel like almost everyone there, after the team was drafted, myself included, I was like, all right, man. Well, it's over, man. Fuck everybody else, man. You know what I mean? Like, this will pretty much be done. And then we started, and I think, again, this is why what I was talking about styles and, hey, some people hit subs much easier on different styles. A lot of my teammates who were also extremely submission oriented were not getting a lot of subs, right? And then our points, I don't think, because there's 2 aspects to PGF points. Of course, it's getting subs, but also not getting subbed, right? I feel like it's not equally important, but definitely a very important factor, right? Because if, let's say you're getting a bunch of subs, but at the same time, when you finally lose, you allow another team to catch up because all of you guys are getting subbed out, right? You're not going to do very well. So, I thought that offensively we're going to be able to get a lot of points with subs, and it just wasn't happening. And then, some of our guys were getting popped and they were fucking out. I mean, it was just a mess. And then eventually, I think from my team, I think only 2 people remained from the original, myself and Kyle Bain. Right? So
I think that's right. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it was tough, man. I think
that's rough.
We started out with a lot of promise, and then next thing you know, man.
You guys had Porfirio, right?
No,
he was in Toronto.
He was in Toronto. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, because his was like his first match was like, oh no, he was like a top point scoring potential guy. And that's one of the things we tried to warn a lot of guys about on that day one when people were coming in too, was like, hey, do not try to like be a hero today and take too much, because you can't. And I think, like you said, a few people got hurt day one, and by the end of the week that added up to where people were having to just stay out, and it was crazy.
Yeah. Yeah, that shit was crazy. I mean, again, Porfirio wasn't on my team, but watching it live and watching his knee just fucking explode, I was like, oh my fucking God, this tournament is for fucking real. Like, I was like, oh shit.
It set the bar right away, huh?
Yeah. And I don't know. I was getting accustomed to most of the tournaments that I was doing. It would be like me and maybe one other person who was like really good at leg locks. But then in this tournament, man, everybody was good at leg locks. Everybody was dangerous. I was like, oh my fucking God.
I've heard of a couple of legends that have been coaches or been like audience members at the PGF now over the last 2 seasons that are now seeking out some of the homies that are the black belts that are in like leg lock worlds. Legends that are going, hey, can I come get some privates on some leg locks? Because I watched that PGF week and oh my God, like there's leg locks I didn't know existed.
Yeah, that shit. Yeah. I mean, everybody there was just so good at leg locks. That shit it was crazy. It was kind of scary, but it was fun, man. So overall, yeah,
that's good.
I guess to just come back around to the original question was, yeah, as soon as the teams were formed, I thought we were going to win. And as the week progressed, I was like, God damn, fuck it. Hey, as long as I make top 8, you know what I mean? I'm Gucci, all right? I can back up my name, I guess.
Survive.
That's right.
Would you do it again?
Oh, yeah. Go ahead.
Would I do it? Hell yeah, I'll do it again. If this should happen tomorrow, I will move all depositions and whatever the fuck I got planned. I would move everything to get back into it. The only thing is, I would work more EBI overtime because I worked 0 overtime before this tournament. And I think you could see it because I was confused as fuck when it was happening. Like, you know what I mean? I was just like, I don't know how to do it. We don't really work on it because most of the rules that I was competing in, I didn't have to worry about that. And then, of course, I would work the top bottom after stalling call out, both offensively and defensively. I mean, there's a lot of things that I would prepare for to really go and crush if I got to do it again.
Definitely. I feel the same way.
Yeah, talking about the overtime, one of the major ones that sticks out to me for you is the armbar. With what was the feelings on the armbar? Like, did you feel like you had it and then you were like felt it slipping? Like, what happened there?
I mean, I don't have like the most perfect recollection of what I was thinking when I was doing it, but I do remember, like, again, I mean, if I feel like I can go for a sub, regardless of what the points and everything is, I'm probably gonna go for it. And I feel like I could have held on to the back for the remaining of the period because he tried to do a couple escapes, didn't work, and then we were just kind of chilling. So I was like, okay, he's gonna wait, and I could wait it out. But then I threw the arm over, right, to get that little lock, and he didn't defend it. I was like, fuck it, I'm gonna go for it, man. And I threw the leg over. The only thing is the leg that I wanted to go across the head kind of went across the head and through his body, right? So both my legs got inside. Anyway, and I was like, oh my God, I'm fucked, man. But I was like, I'm holding onto this arm with dear life. I'm not letting this shit go. And then I think he was trying to step over, and he was so concentrated on his leg coming over me that he let his grip go just a little bit. And I fucking pulled that thing. And when I pulled it out, I was like, thank God. Yeah, I saw, yeah, like the light of God was shining upon me. Like, hey, man, this shit is over. Finally, you can rest. Yeah. And I pulled the arm. I mean, here's the thing. I'm not like super gonna tout myself or whatever, but if I get an arm, most 99.9% of the people, I can hold that shit there. You're not gonna escape. So of course, touting myself. Now to give props to Ryan. This man is tough, man, because like I said, most people there would have done the first attempt and be like, fuck it. You know what I mean? I'm not getting my arm broken. But he just held it in a really good position where I didn't get an opportunity to just rip it, even though you can kind of see me in the video that I got tagged in recently. I tried to move it to put it like in the pocket and just really rip on that thing. And he was holding on the base strong and then just flipped as I was like pushing it over. Yeah, man, that's pretty much. I was fucking dead after that. I was like, look, that's all I had. All right, man. Go ahead, bring down the curtains, man, because it's over. All right.
Yeah, man, and no, no disrespect to you, but like that's what makes a champion, right? Is those moments. Sometimes being able to get through that gut check. Like you've been that guy that Ryan was before too, where a guy may have had you and you were able to get them, on that same kind of idea. So that's cool that you wanted to give him, the credit on being really tough in there, because I think, man, I probably would have tapped too.
I'm gonna be honest with you. You extend my arm like that?
Yeah, like it looked bad enough for me.
That I was out.
And like the fact that you didn't get to finish it, I'm like, yeah. I mean, I don't know what else maybe you could have done in that moment either, like besides what you had tried to do. Like, so you yeah, that's it. Can't really say much else.
I did work on one thing when I kind of looked at some of the highlights that was being tagged in. The foot that was underneath his head wasn't hooking up, right? Which allowed him. Here's the thing. I still, again, just giving props where I feel like props are due. I still feel like it wouldn't have guaranteed a tap on Ryan, right? But I feel like it would have made it just a little bit harder if I would have hooked up like properly. Because again, most people in that position where your arm fully extended right on the hip, you're gonna tap, and you get kind of lazy in the training room because people are like, "Oh shit," you know what I mean? I'm tapping, but it's like you were saying, it's a shift in the mindset from not even just like training room to competition, but it's training room to competition to the guy who really fucking wants to win, right? Because he's gonna put it 100% of it out there, and he's not gonna give a fuck if it's extended. If it's not breaking, he's gonna continue. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So yeah. So anyway, just those little changes, I feel like maybe would have helped, but I guess we'll never know, or maybe we will. I mean, who knows? I'm going 88 for future reference for ADT. So
okay, yeah, and that moment's gone, right? But that doesn't mean that moment can't propel you, like you said, to your next moment too, because of the fact that you now know a little bit more about arm bars than you did before. Even though you were amazing and great at arm bars, now you've even got that blade sharper than it was then, and so the next guy's going to be in trouble if they find themselves in that same spot. So that's like more proof about the kind of athlete and man you are, Paul. That's super respectful, man.
Appreciate it.
Definitely. Well, Paul, you have a real job and things to do.
Sucker. Making money.
Do you have any closing thoughts that you'd like to leave the people with?
Oh man, I can't think of anything, but for sure, shout out to my team. Shout out to my brother, Ernesto, Kevin, all the boys at ATT, Superfly, even Octopus Sandy Springs, one of our other gyms that we trained at recently here. Yeah, appreciate all the support. Appreciate all the support for everyone who's hit me up. Even no joke. Even at some of the gyms that I just kind of go to every once in a while, it was really fucking cool, man. After like the video started coming out on YouTube, people be like, "Man, I've been watching the season, man. This shit is crazy as fuck, man." You know what I mean? Like, I can't believe, like it was so cool, man. All the stuff. So yeah, I mean, like I said in one of the questions, if this is jiu-jitsu now, man, I can't wait, for the next like 5-10 years. It's just about to be crazy as fuck. And we have a lot of guys with a lot of, support, public support, also back in jiu-jitsu. So maybe we'll get a super fight, Elon Musk v. Mark Zuckerberg or something like that. It should be
Bring it to the PGF.
I mean, they're sending people to space, so.
That's right. That's right, man.
Jiu-jitsu match. The first jiu-jitsu match in space.
Oh, I'm sure that I mean, it's been proposed. I know we proposed PGF on the moon at some point. I don't know if that like went any further than a PDF, but like we proposed it.
Fines.
Speaking of, I feel like the public wants to know when is the next PGF. Is that the delay? Is because PGF is going to be on the moon? What's going on, man? We want to know. Give us a little bit.
Paul said it.
What I can tell you is that there's a draft going June 25th, and with that, everything else will be known going forward.
End of this month is a big announcement.
Okay. You know as much as we do, to be honest.
Yep, that's all we know.
All right, PGF Moon. That's all I know.
It might be like I don't know.
Maybe I know it's been
crazier
proposed.
than we can imagine. Everything I keep hearing is like it's like I've imagined such crazy things at this point. I don't know if it's true anymore. Like I've imagined some really wild stuff. So it's probably pretty.
Yep. Just for the whoever the right person at PGF is who may be hearing this, the people want to know, and I get asked every single day at the gym, through Instagram, through whatever, people just coming up like, "Hey man, this shit was crazy as fuck. When is the next one?" So
another insider says that April 28th is a big announcement. Okay. That's what was into the month. So that seems into the month. So
I mean, technically,
hypothetically. But right. Any other big announcements, Steven? I've got a tournament next weekend down here in Cancun Open. The registration's still open. You qualify to go compete in the Johnny Hernandez Invitational 2 at Casa Babylonia. It's Babo's house. It's going to be a pretty wild ride. So it's going to be fun.
I want to do jiu-jitsu in the castle.
I think that's on the table.
I'm doing it. Y'all are doing it now. I'm going to have to do it too. I have to find somebody with a castle to do jiu-jitsu at now. That's not y'all's friend though.
You got to find another castle.
My own friend with a castle. Paul, you got a castle?
I don't have a castle, man.
Man, you got to step your game up, Paul.
I'm trying to, man. Man.
All right, cool. Well,
hey, thanks for coming on, Paul. It was a lot of fun, man.
Love having you,
to, if you're still watching or hear about it, thanks for coming on, dude. That was a lot of fun.
I'll let him know, man. I don't know what happened to his shit. Oh, his phone died. All right. I'll let him know, man.
Okay.
Happens to the best of us. Oh, yeah. May 10th, there's a PGF Open in Alabama. I've heard that announced a couple times.
Yeah, like an open tournament for everybody.
Yeah. It's an open tournament. So, all right, peoples. Glad to have y'all. Everybody's out.